Hey guys, God bless you. My name is Carlos, and you were tuned into Bible Wise Money. If you've been tuned into the last few episodes, you know that this is episode 3 of 3, where we are talking about debt. But with this episode, I want to provide you with a measure of hope and hopefully a little bit of a glimpse on how you could take your first steps in getting out of debt. Come inside the video and let's talk about it. So there are two things that I want to do with the episode today. Number one is I want to talk about the 2010 rule of thumb for debt. And then number two, I want to introduce you to a few debt calculators. These are actually online tools, and you will see the link in the description box below that could actually help you track and project where you are with your debt and hopefully how quickly you can get out of debt if that's an issue for you. As usual, if you get any value out of the content, I ask that you smash the like button below. Also, if you can consider subscribing and leaving a comment, that will give us a lot of help in ranking our YouTube channel and these videos. So let's talk about this 2010 rule of thumb for debt. What the 2010 rule of thumb basically says is this: you should have no more than 20% of your take-home pay outstanding in consumer debt, and no more than 10% of your take-home pay should be spent on consumer debt payments. Let's assume, for example, that your take-home pay is $5,000 a month. That's your take-home pay, your net pay, not your gross pay. That $5,000 is $60,000 a year. $5,000 a month multiplied by 12 months would give you $60,000. So the 2010 rule says that no more than 20% of your take-home pay over the entire year should be outstanding in debt. Once you get past 20%, you're probably experiencing certain kinds of difficulties and problems with your personal finances because of your debt. So in this example, a person whose annual take-home pay is $60,000 a year, they should have no more than 20% of that, or $12,000 in outstanding consumer debt. And when I talk about consumer debt, I'm talking about credit cards, I'm talking about student loans, I'm talking about car payments and other types of debt like that. I'm not talking about your mortgage. That's a separate conversation. So no more than 20%. Now, I certainly advocate that if you can get to a point where you're living a debt-free lifestyle, that's an absolute goal. I think everyone should aspire to, but I also understand you have to start somewhere. And so if you're part of the listening and tuning in audience, and you can say, Carlos, I have so much debt, I don't even know where to begin. Let's start with the 2010 rule. The second part of this formula, the 2010 rule of thumb, is that you want to pay no more than 10% of your take-home pay to pay off that debt, or at least a minimum payment on those debts. So this individual is earning $5,000 a month. That is a take-home pay. They would want to spend ideally no more than $500 a month in minimum payments. Now, if the person is trying to get themselves out of debt, then obviously they should pay a lot more than $500. Maybe they'll pay $1,000 a month or $1,500, depends on how much it is. If you saw the previous video, you'll recall I told the story where my minimum payments were $1,600 a month. And I was not taking home that much. I wasn't even taking home at that point, that I probably wasn't even $5,000 a month. So at that point in my life, my take-home pay, probably almost 40% of it was going towards minimum payments on my credit card. So not 10%, probably about 40% of it. When you start getting to the point where you're past the 10%, you can continue to live, but something else is probably not going to happen. Maybe you don't have life insurance when you really should have that. Maybe your giving is not what it should be. when you really want to, you have a desire to give. So there could be a lot of things that are happening that are not good because of that excess debt. Now I want to show you a tool. There's several tools online. I'm going to link them below in the description field below. This tool is part of the CNN Business website, and it's titled, How Long Will It Take to Pay Off My Credit Cards? Now, thankfully, credit cards have gotten much better, so there's supposed to be information right on the statement of how long it's going to take you to pay off your cards if you're making the minimum payments. What it doesn't tell you, if you desire to pay them off quicker, how quickly can you do it? And you'll notice a series of fields right in the middle of the screen, and you can change those. You can edit them to whatever you need them to be. So in this case, the current credit card balance is $1,500 for a specific credit card. The annual percentage rate on this card is 24%. You can change that if your card rate is either more or less. You notice the assumptions. The maximum payment percentage is 1.5%. So it's not unusual that credit card companies only want you to pay off 1.5% of interest every month. This way they can have you paying interest for more months. And notice the minimum payment. The credit card company might be saying in this example, we want you to pay $32 a month. And you'll notice the calculate button. So if you hit the calculate button down here, you'll notice what it says. Below, the results are that you will pay off this debt in 12 years. And I think most importantly, I want you to look specifically at that first row. It says that in the first year, you're going to pay $357 in interest out of $384 in payments. So as you may have experienced in the past, if you've ever had a card where you make payments faithfully month after month, and it seems like the amount that you owe never goes down, this is why. In this particular case, the beginning balance was $1,500 and the ending balance is $1,473. In 1 year, you would only have paid off $27 of the principal. Everything else you're paying is interest payments. And then as you continue to look down the screen, you'll notice that the amount of interest goes down and the amount of principal that is actually your ending balance of principal is actually finally decreasing so that you pay off this entire credit card in 12 years, which is quite a long time to wait. So if we come back up, what we can do, let's say we want to eliminate this credit card, we're going to change the minimum payments. Instead of paying $32, we are going to pay $64 a month. We're going to double our payments. And when you hit the calculate button, you'll notice as you scroll down that it's only going to take you 3 years to pay off this credit card. At 24% interest, the first year, the interest is $312, but you will pay $768 in payments, and the balance goes down very, very quickly. So this is one tool, and if you check in the description below, there's a few other tools that I've linked there as well that really help you to answer the question, how can I pay off my debt, especially credit card debts, faster? Use this tool because it will give you some real-life scenarios and hopefully give you a roadmap to paying off your debt. Often when I teach about debt, I tell the story of the $86 hamburger. And the $86 hamburger refers to a date that I went on way back in the mid-'80s. And I took my date to the Ground Round, which is a restaurant that used to exist. It used to be a chain restaurant. And if I recall, we both had like burgers and fries and the brownie sundae and a beverage. So it was nothing fancy at all. And the meals were probably no more than $10 each. But I put it on a charge card. So one of the things that I did when I eventually got out of debt, I went back to calculate, like, how much did this meal really cost me? Since it took me 20 years to get out of debt. And I calculated the cost of the burger that I bought for my date was $86 when you added in 20 years of interest payments. And if that's not bad enough, I'll be honest with you, I don't even remember her name. That's how uneventful the date was. We got a burger. I don't even know if we went to a movie. I really don't even recall that much. But the point is that it's the same thing for anything that you buy using debt. the amount that you pay is actually far in excess of the value of the purchase price, what you're actually buying. So that is it on this video on debt. I hope you got something out of it. With the next video, we're going to re-examine how things are going with the $100 to $10,000 challenge. I'll see you inside the next video. God bless you. I don't know, maybe it wasn't memorable for her. She may be watching right now. She's watching. Hey, how's it going? Been a long time. Sorry, I didn't remember your name. If I saw her right now, I'd probably just say, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. But since you're watching the channel anyway, could you hit the thumbs up button and can you leave a comment? Thumbs up, and can you subscribe? Sorry, I hope you enjoyed the burger. It cost me $86.